Hi guys, welcome to the session. This is Rashekar from St. Peter's Engineering College. Today we are going to discuss about the decision tree, how the decision tree will work, and what is a decision tree, what is the use of the decision tree, how the decision tree will work, and with an example. Let's start our session. Decision tree mining is a type of a data mining technique that is used to build the classification models. Majorly, the classification models have different types of techniques we are using for the classification. In these classification techniques, the major thing to design or to construct a tree, the tree structure will be constructed by using a decision tree induction. It builds the classification models in the form of a tree-like structure. The tree-like structure means a root node, leaf nodes, and the internal nodes will be there, like shown in the image. Just like its name, this type of a mining belongs to a supervised learning class. Majorly, the decision tree belongs to the family of the supervised techniques. We have two types of supervised classes are there. One is a supervised and another one is the unsupervised things. In supervised learning, the target results is already known. Why? Because the target result is already known, and a decision tree can be the targeted results is already known, and the decision tree can be used for the both categorical and numerical values. We have two types of values will be there in the decision tree making. One is a numerical values and the second one is a categorical value. The numerical values will represent the age, temperature, and the values which are there in the numerical words. And the categorical value will represent the which is same as in a gender, status, and so on, etc., which related to the text or like that. So these two types of the values will be accepted by the decision tree induction. The majorly it shows that this is the example of the decision tree. Here we have an age, income, student, credit rating, buys of a computer. That means we are taking an electronical details data. In these electronic details data, we are constructing a decision tree by using all the data set available in this graph. This is the example of this data. And what is the use of the decision tree? Why the decision tree is required? And what is the use of the construction of a classification model by using a decision tree? The major thing of the usage of the decision tree is used to build a classification and regression models. We have any regression models are also there. For this regression model, we are constructing a decision tree. It is used to create models that will predict the class labels. The class label will be predicted by using the leaf nodes of that particular tree. It used to create the data models that will predict the class labels or values for a decision tree making process. These models are built the training data set to feed the systems of the supervised learning. We have a supervised learning. That supervised learning will be taken as a feed for to build a training data set model. By using this decision tree, we can visualize the decision that makes it easy to understand, and thus it is a popular of the designing technique. That's a decision tree. By using the decision tree, we can visualize the decision that making it easy to understand, and thus it's a popular data mining technique. Why? Because if you see the tree structure, it is very easy to analyze what is the data presented in that particular data set, and it is easy to take a decision which data is suitable to that particular relevant data, and what is the main cause of the data will be analyzed and taking a decision tree. For that, the major use of the decision tree. And in this decision tree, we can be using a classification analysis. This is a classification analysis is a form of an analysis which builds in a model that describes the important classes of that overall variables. For example, a model built to a categorical bank loan application. In this bank loan application, the loan application will be verified by the bank officer by taking off all the details of that particular customer, like what is the property they have and what is the security they are giving, whether the customer is a job owner or not, either government job or private sector. If the private sector means it's temporary or permanent, any contract. So all the details verified by the bank application process. If you see like an Excel sheet, it's taken a lot of data. If you see like in a decision tree, it will use an accurate results of that particular customer. So by using this classification analysis, we can predict the data and we can predict the values of that particular variations. To build the categorical bank applications are safe or risky, and the classification methods are also used in the machine learning and the pattern recognitions. We have a decision tree making with a pattern making also. So by using the pattern analysis also, we can find out this classification analysis. And majorly the application of the classification includes the fraud detection and medical diagnostics and target making and etc. The output of these classification problems is taken as in a model of the observed values of a terminal node. So with this terminal node also we can take it. And we are involving a two-step process is followed to build a classification model. This two-step model will have a very easy technique. If you compare with if you compare with other classification models, this technique is a very easy to analyze the data in that particular process. The first step is that is a learning. So the classification model is based on training data is built by using the learning of that particular technique. The second one is the accuracy model is checked on them. The model is used to classify new data. The class label presents here and in the form of the discrete value, whether yes or no, safe or risk, good or bad. So it gives a clear and a clarity of the Boolean clarity of the expressions with that particular values. So here like this. Here we have a training set data with an attribute 1, attribute 2 and attribute 3 with a class values. And we want the test set, that means the test data set values to identify, to give the clarification of that particular data. So for that purposes, the first we are scanning of all the data, we are seeing that particular all data and we are sending that learning algorithm, that is an induction process. With this induction process, we are moving to the learning algorithm. By this learning algorithm, the total algorithm will verify the data and it learn the model and it can design a model. After that, after designing that model, we are applying that model into a process. So after the applying model, we will get a deduction values. That means the resulted values will be displayed by using this classification process. So the resulted values will be clearly represented here. That is a test set. If we see the data set, we have a 10 attributes are there. In these 10 attributes, the attribute levels will use the large, medium, small, and the attribute will have the values of the 125k, 100k, 70k, 120k. By applying all the models of the decision tree, by applying all models of the classification model, we got the test set like this. If you compare these test set, the test model will have a deduction. So we remove all these question marks. That means the below of the values will be applied with this test set. And now, how the decision tree will work? How does a decision tree will work? With this decision tree, a supervised learning algorithm that works for the both discrete and continuous values, like as a nominal and attribute values. A decision tree is a supervised learning that works for the both discrete and continuous variables. It splits the data set into a subset on the basis of the most significant attribute in the data set. How the decision tree identifies the attribute, how the decision tree will identifies the attributes, how the decision tree will identify the attributes, and how the splitting of the done in a decided by this algorithm. So a decision tree is a supervised algorithm only, but that it works for the both discrete and continuous variables. The most significant predictor is designed at the root node. By splitting is done to form a subnode class, called as a decision nodes, and the nodes which do not split the further on a terminal of leaf nodes. Those are called as a leaf nodes. Those are called as a leaf nodes. In the decision tree, the data set is divided into homogeneous and non-overlapping regions. Here, the homogeneous and non-overlapping regions follow the top and down approaches. From the top to down approaches. That means a root node is there, the root node and the subnode leaf. Internal nodes to the leaf nodes. So top-down approach will be followed by the top-down approach at the top region presents all the observations of the single place, which splits into the two or more branches that further splits. The approach is called as a greedy approach. The greedy approach, as it is only considered the current node between the worked on without focusing on the further nodes. So the greedy approach is having a consideration. That consideration will work the current node only, not work with the focusing on the further nodes. That means if we are not focusing on the next nodes, what the next will happen. So the greedy approach will work like this, as a what the now the data is available on that particular data set, that only will considered as a greedy approach, and it will done by the decision tree. The decision tree algorithms will continue running until the stop criteria, such as the minimum number of observations is reached. The minimum number of observations is reached. That means if we are scanning the overall data of the data set, then we are moving into the work. When the leaf node reaches, the decision tree will work. That means when the last stage of that particular data set will reach until the decision tree will work, a tree pruning method is applied. That here we have to make a note. That is a tree pruning method is applied to remove the unwanted data. This turns to improve the accuracy of the classification model. Here we are using one method, that is a tree pruning method is used for the unwanted or noisy data will be removed by using the tree pruning. With this tree pruning, the accuracy of the classification model will increase. To find the accuracy model, the test consisting of the test tuples and the class labels is used. With these test tuples and the class labels, we can easily identify the values presented on that particular data set, and the accuracy will be measured by using these test tuples. The percentage of the test tuples are correctly classified, the model to be identified, and the accuracy of the model will be mentioned there, and the accuracy of the model will be displayed in that particular model. If the model is found to be an accurate, then it is used as a classified the data tuple for which the class labels are not known. So here we are using it is used to classify the data tuple which class labels are not known or not identified as a class tuple that is mentioned in the leaf nodes. Some of the decision tree algorithms includes the hunt algorithms, and we have a few algorithms same as like the decision tree, which includes the hunt algorithms, ID3, CD4.5, and CARD. These are all the different algorithms which work like as a decision tree. And here the algorithms will have a regression techniques are also used. In this regression analysis, the regression analysis is used for the prediction of the numeric attributes. Numeric attributes are also called as continuous values, where the model built to predict the continuous values instead of the class labels is called the regression model. The output of this regression model, output of this regression analysis is the mean of all observed values of that particular node. Mean of all observed particular values of the node here. And if you observe like as a decision tree here, the decision tree will have an age, income, student, credit rating, by ratings. The root node, here the decision tree induction is the learning of the decision tree from the class labeled training tuples. These are all the class labeled training tuples. A decision tree is a flowchart like a structure which gives a clear data structures, where each internal node or non-leaf nodes, these are the each internal node or non-leaf nodes denotes the test of an attribute. So the internal node is denoted as a test of an attribute. Each branch of the test will be verified, and each branch of the test will be told as an outcome of the test. So this is the outcome of the test, and this is the attribute. And the leaf node is a terminal node, and it holds the class label. And the topmost node is known as a root node. So here in the decision tree, the major part is this is a root node, and the root node is connected with an internal node. That internal node is known as an attribute, and the connectivity between the relationship between the root node and the internal node will use a test page. The test page is known as an outcome of the test. So if you apply a root node, the test outcome of the test will be displayed here. For example, age, student. The age of the student is less than or equal to 30, or the age between the S is 31 to 40, and age of the credit rating is greater than 40. So the test result will be displayed in the branch of the internal node to the root node, and the internal node is every internal node have leaf nodes. These leaf nodes will be it holds the class label. The class label means it shows the decision of that particular values, whether yes or no. So if yes considered as an a good and no considered as an a bad, that means a risky or safe. That each and everything will be verified here. So the age is a root node, student is an internal node, yes or no is an a leaf nodes. These leaf nodes are known as an a class labels. So this is the structure of the decision tree. And thank you. And the next session will be continued of the decision tree induction with the analysis of the decision tree and induction of the decision tree induction algorithm, explanation of the algorithm very clearly with an how to the example of the creating a decision tree induction methods, and what is an accord, and how the decision tree induction for the machine learning of ID3 will be explained in the next session.